If my lawn looked like total crap this fall, which it does, here's what I would and what I wouldn't do. All right, let's get one thing out of the way before I have anyone say, well, why would I listen to you if your lawn looks like crap? All right, let's rewind a little bit to earlier this summer and take a look at what it did look like. Just because it looks like crap right now doesn't mean I don't know what I'm talking about. Life gets in the way. Work, family, you name it. And I don't have time for the lawn. We haven't had rain in weeks. I haven't watered it in weeks. I just mowed it for the first time in a couple weeks. It looks like this because I just simply have not done the basics. That's all it comes down to. I just have not been doing the basics. We had some recovery from the armyworm damage. We still have a little bit of recognizable damage in through here, but everything else, folks, this is just a Bermuda grass lawn after a lot of heat, no fertilizer, no rain, no watering, and it's just kind of checking out a little early. This is just going dormant. It is just crispy from the elements. So if it looks this poorly this late in the season, here's what I would and what I wouldn't do. The first thing you need to do is know exactly what type of turf you are dealing with, because that is really going to dictate everything that comes next. So I have Bermuda grass. Here's what I would do with it to try and salvage the rest of the season. All I would do is water this, try to get it to bounce back as much as possible, mow it as much as possible, and throw a pre-emergent down to prevent the POA from wreaking havoc next spring. That's all I would do for my fall lawn care at this point in the game. Water it, mow it, put down a pre-emergent. It's too late in the season for a fertilizer on a Bermuda lawn. Squash that. Now, what I wouldn't do, because you're hearing this a lot right now on YouTube, and you know what's coming, I would not be leveling, I would not be dethatching, I would not be aerating, and I would not be overseeding. Well, why is everybody else doing that, you might ask? Well, because all those folks have cool season lawns, and this is their prime time of the year where we would be doing more of our heavy lifting with Bermuda grass during the hot summer months of the season. They are doing it now in the fall. Some folks might even do a little bit of that in the spring if they've got cool season. But us Bermuda grass folks, all we're doing is trying to get this thing ready to go to bed for the winter. Raise the height of cut a little bit, give it some more insulation, some more of a blanket to withstand some of those colder temperatures over the upcoming months, and then just enjoy your off season. Well, what if I did want to overseed my Bermuda grass? Well, one, you can overseed your Bermuda grass this time of year. Now, you're not overseeding it with Bermuda, which I wouldn't necessarily advise that in the first place, but what you could be overseeding it with this time of year is a cool season grass. Most folks will use a ryegrass so they can be mowing and striping and doing all their regular lawn care stuff most of the winter long. I did a video about that last season. I'll leave that along with my video about armyworms, both of those linked down below. But let's put it this way. If your lawn looks pretty poorly at this point in the game and you just don't quite have a grasp on how you should be taking care of it as a whole, you might not be in a position to take that kind of step to overseed your Bermuda grass lawn with ryegrass this fall for the winter, because you could really set yourself up for some headaches when it comes time next spring if you don't take care of that ryegrass the right way. And then before you know it, you're not having a good season next year when your Bermuda should really be thriving because you just didn't take care of the ryegrass, get it out to let that Bermuda come back in. That's a whole nother story. So, gotta know what type of grass you have. If you're a warm season grass, you're looking at a totally different playbook from our friends that have the cool season lawns who are just going full steam ahead right now. So if you've got Bermuda and it looks like garbage at this point in the game, just water it, mow it, throw down some pre-emergent, don't fertilize, don't dethatch, don't aerate, don't overseed, don't do any of that stuff, because that's not going to help you at all as we head into the fall and winter. Things are about to start going dormant. It's going to turn brown. Go to sleep until it warms up again next spring. Then you'll be back to your regular lawn care routine before you know it. So I know some of you may be asking, well, what does dormant mean? I know for a lot of us, hey, we've talked about this before. That seems like a silly question, but there's some of us here that are still learning some of this terminology. What Bermuda grass will do over the winter is it will turn brown. That does not mean it's dead. It will just check out. It does not thrive in cold temperatures. It will turn brown, go to sleep. You will come back next spring, cut all of that off by scalping it real short, open it back up to sunlight, airflow, the warmer temperatures. Your Bermuda grass will start coming back up green again, just like you had it this season. That's the easy explanation of what dormancy is. No need to get any further into it than that. But those are the things that I would do and I wouldn't do to my lawn if I was in the shape that I am in right now. I'm not doing a whole lot to mine. I mean, I'll be honest, we are building a house right now. It has been a long, drawn-out process. If you're thinking about building right now, let things settle down. We went from a close date of June to July, maybe August, then to September. Now we're into October. It's dragging out. Look, just a lot of things piling up. Not the builder's fault, really no one's fault. As you can imagine, everything in our world with this pandemic is just flipped upside down. So just taking it one day at a time. And I know some of you are out there wondering about fertilizing. Should you be, shouldn't you be? I already said that I wouldn't be this time of year. But I want to give one last little word of thought here as I look across my terrible looking lawn. As we always talk about soil tests and what we should be throwing on our lawns and what we shouldn't be. If you're like me, some of us just want to have a nice lawn. It doesn't matter about all that scientific stuff. And if you ask me, as I look across here, the one ingredient to keeping it nice and green, and I am no expert, so don't try to argue with me over this, is nitrogen. And the way I can tell that is everywhere my dog has peed, which dog urine is high in nitrogen, all those darker green spots, those are really the only spots that look halfway decent. You can tell this one got a little too much pee and burned out, but those are the only spots that actually look good. So Sally back in the corner over there, hey, thanks for giving me a few nice little looking spots in my lawn, because the rest of it looks like a nightmare. All right, my friends, that's all I've got for you on this edition of Budget Lawns. Thanks as always for joining me. If you found this helpful, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you feel so inclined, and I will see you next time.